They told her freedom would make her happy, but somewhere between empowerment and exhaustion something shifted, and she gained many things except peace. Modern feminism promised women everything: freedom, power, independence, success, love, and a life without limits, the corner office, the perfect relationship, and the right to live on her own terms. It was sold as a bright dream of independence, strong and unstoppable, yet along the way that dream started to feel less like liberation and more like a quiet loneliness. As women gained more control, more options, and more opportunity than ever before, something invisible slowly slipped away: fulfillment, calm, and belonging. Beneath all the noise of progress there grew a silence people avoided, a rising tiredness, a hidden emptiness behind the image of the strong, independent woman. This is not about equality that was settled long ago. This is about what came after the slogans, after the campaigns, after the world finally said you can have it all. Freedom was supposed to heal, but instead it brought performance, and behind every performance lives a truth many avoid. The modern idea of independence looks beautiful on paper, yet often carries a heavy unseen cost: loneliness hiding behind success, pressure replacing peace, and fatigue that never fully leaves. This was called progress, but progress without meaning can feel like punishment. This is not an attack. It is an honest examination of what happens when a movement meant to free women quietly cages them again, not with rules this time, but with expectations, comparison, and constant tiredness. Empowerment slowly became burnout, emotional freedom turned into emotional distance, and equality drifted into quiet unhappiness. This is not about blaming women or men. It is about understanding what was lost while trying to have everything. Independence was won and isolation followed. Freedom was chased and connection faded. And in the silence that came after, many began to realize the dream they were sold never fully belonged to them. This should have been the golden age of womanhood. Barriers fell, chances grew, old limits disappeared, and by every clear measure women's lives improved over decades. Yet something strange happened. Happiness quietly declined. More freedom brought less joy, more choice brought less contentment, more equality somehow carried more emptiness. While outer walls fell, inner pressure rose. Women were told they could be anything, but not how to carry the weight of being everything. She became a leader at work, a caring partner, a present mother, a social voice, and somehow always expected to look effortless. It stopped being empowerment and became performance, and the stage never closed. Social media locked it in. Endless feeds and endless comparison turned progress into a permanent scoreboard. She no longer competed with men, she competed with perfection. The old world limited choices, the new world buried her under them. Every decision became another test, and with every empowered move peace felt smaller. Empowerment without rest is not freedom, it is fatigue wearing a success mask, the kind of tiredness that never shows on a resume but lives behind tired eyes, whispering late at night that everything was done right yet something still feels empty. This is not failure, it is success without fulfillment. Power arrived, but power without connection does not comfort, it isolates. The numbers say women are doing better, but the quiet spaces between those numbers tell a deeper story of hidden burnout and silent dissatisfaction, of a generation that gained the world but lost the calm that makes life feel whole. Emotional freedom started with a good idea, that women should own their choices, that shame should disappear, that desire should not be controlled, and at first it felt pure and right. Over time, what began as freedom from judgment slowly became freedom from feeling. Emotional closeness turned optional, attachment looked risky, and love started to sound outdated. Many were left feeling disconnected, not because of people, but because a culture taught that distance meant strength. Connection without meaning became empty, messages replaced presence, attention replaced affection, and validation became currency. Many women could handle casual moments, but deep inside they wanted closeness without being called needy, commitment without being called weak, and love without being told it made them dependent. So they learned to smile through silence, act unbothered, and rename disconnection as self-respect, because admitting loneliness began to feel like betrayal of empowerment. Entire industries grew around that loneliness, apps and platforms feeding dissatisfaction while selling fake closeness. Connection became a market measured by clicks. Freedom without purpose feels hollow, choice without peace feels heavy, and real imperfect love struggles in a world that rewards distance more than devotion. When everything becomes casual, nothing feels sacred, and when nothing feels sacred, even pleasure starts to feel empty. Then came the idea that women could have it all: careers, families, passions, power, but hidden inside those words was quiet cruelty, because having it all always costs something. Balance turned into burnout, work, relationships, parenting, and self-growth running together on a track with no finish line. The world praised the woman who did everything, met deadlines, raised children, stayed polished, and never cracked, while behind that image lived exhaustion too deep for easy words. Not because women are weak, but because they are expected to be endless. Emotional labor never vanished, it just became unseen. Then came pressure to optimize life, eat right, improve, glow, and self-care through structural stress. When the impossible standard was missed, women blamed themselves instead of the system. Humanity has limits. Liberation was meant to honor them, but productivity replaced patriarchy, calendars replaced chains, and even empowerment language was turned into hustle culture. Grind, do more, be more, as if worth could be billed by the hour. Late at night, when the screen finally goes dark, she sits with quiet exhaustion and wonders what all this strength was meant to give her. Strength without softness becomes armor, and armor is heavy. She never wanted to do everything. She just wanted to stop choosing between success and peace, freedom and love, power and rest. The system profits from pressure, and when tiredness becomes a badge, burnout starts to look like achievement. She broke ceilings only to find the air above was thin. No one told her freedom could feel so silent. She learned to master tasks but forgot how to rest, conquered goals but lost the feeling of home inside herself. She built walls from achievements, degrees, promotions, titles, each one saying she could stand alone, and she could, but every fortress becomes a cage. Behind confidence sits loneliness, a quiet ache between notifications. Independence made her strong and also distant, and being untouchable became its own kind of isolation. Success does not hold you when you are tired. Freedom does not check if you are okay. She became everything the world told her to be and lost the part of herself that only wanted to be loved. Independence taken too far turns into isolation. She fought to be seen as powerful and now just wants to be seen as human. What began as unity slowly fractured. Choice turned into conflict, empathy faded, and what was meant to bring harmony created distance. Men grew defensive, women grew exhausted, both felt unheard, and progress built on resentment created separation instead of peace. Beneath every movement and slogan, she wanted simple things: safety, understanding, and permission to not be everything. She wore strength like armor and said she was fine even when she was not. Praise is not love. Applause does not fill quiet rooms. She wanted interdependence, to be strong without being alone, and men feel this too, two sides of the same silent ache. Deep inside, she remembers the girl who dreamed of peace more than power, love more than perfection. Maybe the real change is not becoming harder but becoming softer again. Every movement starts with truth and ends with branding, yet underneath remains a simple reality. People were never meant to fight each other, they were meant to heal together. Empowerment without empathy is not progress, it is isolation with better marketing. Real change will not come from screens, it will come from homes, from honest talks, from listening. Success will be measured in connection, equality, and understanding, because the dream was never about having everything. It was about having enough peace to stop running, enough wisdom to stop performing, enough love to stop pretending. The future is balance, strength with softness, choice with belonging. Critiquing modern feminism does not erase progress, it protects it. Empowerment that steals peace is not empowerment. Independence that removes connection is not freedom. The promise was never another cage. It was meant to be the key, not to domination but dignity, not to power but peace. And maybe that is where the next wave begins, not in anger but in understanding.